getting hit multiple times coming out of that bike section. More drivers coming to blows.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Slow Motion Broadcasting. As the sun begins to fall over South Australia and the city lights flicker to life, the roar of racing engines once again echoes through the streets of Adelaide. Tonight, one of motorsport's most historic street circuits returns to center stage, where precision, bravery, and outright commitment are tested corner after corner against the unforgiving walls of the Adelaide street circuit. The challenge of Adelaide is unlike anywhere else. Fast direction changes, heavy braking zones, narrow concrete-lined straights, and little margin for error make every lap an exercise in absolute concentration. Drivers attack the famous Babham Straight at full speed before deep diving into the brakes of Turn 1, the Senna chicane, threading the car through a relentless sequence of corners where confidence means everything and hesitation costs time at best and your entire car at worst. I'm joined by producer Mike Braun in the truck and veteran broadcaster Tom O'Gorman. Tom, are these drivers going to have what it takes to brave iRacing's deadliest street circuit?
That is the big question, and I think the wounds are a little fresh here in the Sim Racers group. As we raced here at Adelaide in the Formula 4 series, last Tuesday, about 8 days ago, and it proved to be an absolutely daunting challenge for the drivers just to get a clean race. It almost felt like roulette because there are sections of this racetrack that absolutely bait you into going as fast as possible over curbs, as fast as possible into some awkward sections. And then we also have the sector that we watch right now, some of the slowest corners that you have in iRacing. And there are, oh, by the way, only about 5 of them back to back to back to back to back before we get up onto this back straightaway at turn 7. It's a big challenge, James, and I think the drivers are going to have to be aware of the aggression tonight. You just have to be really on top of when it's time to make risky moves, and in general, probably drive a little bit less risky overall on a circuit like this.
Well, street circuits demand a sort of special kind of mentality. There's no gravel traps for you to save a mistake. There's no room to breathe. Every lap, you're driving just inches from the walls. You're always balancing your aggression against your literal survival instincts. The circuit changes, I find, in street circuits over time. Some of the corners end up being slipperier than others as the race goes on. I find that as you get into some of the more deadlier corners towards the ends of the race, and especially in these F3 cars for the feature race, it's 25 minutes. And so the tires really do go through, as the legend Ron Mons would say, the tire witching hour. It is something that those corners become something where you have to become more and more and more cautious at the same time as you are worrying about the people behind you. So it really is an evolving track, and Adelaide is so dangerous. This first corner here, we have a clip from the F4 series as we just finished qualifying. There's a clip from the F4 series where they ran through Adelaide, and they ended up, it was David Hirsch that took a spill through here that is just legendary. Complete yard sale, clips the corner on the first center chicane, and it was absolutely brutal. It looks like we have our grid lined up here. We're going to show that other clip during the break. Stephen Case ends up as your pole sitter for the sprint race. It's a 15-minute sprint, followed by Max Linlato. Familiar faces at the top there. As I said before, those two would kill each other for a pencil. I stand by it. Chris Eggert, Traber Burns in 4th place. We haven't seen Traber Burns for a very long time. He came in, showed a ton of speed about 2 seasons ago, and then was kind of off the radar for a long time. Kenan Miller, veteran broadcaster right there. Danush Paborji, always fast. De Silva Lopez in grid 4 there. And good boy Josh Corwin, Alex Velasco following there. The 11 and 12 go to Jason Green. Always look out for Jason Green. And Enrique Vela. Varun Bali is in the 13 position with the captain Jason Cotcher. Varun Bali had a tremendous race last time in Montreal. Thomas Brashear, Jose Navas Molina, and Michelle Lynn Kukaran Dillon. Is that the end of the field there? I believe it might be. Tom, they're gridding up here. It looks like it's going to be a good one.
Yeah, just one car missing a standing start for that 15-minute sprint race, then a 6-car invert for a 25-minute feature race. So the race is on for the top 6. But 6th is a pretty ideal spot to be. This will be interesting as the revs come up any moment now. About 20 seconds left on the grid, but it looks like everybody's there. We're about to go racing.
Yes, here we go with the lights. All right, lights out, drop the clutch. We are racing in Adelaide, and it looks like Max Linlato comes out to a really great start. Stephen Case is in second. Linlato first to go through the center chicane. I'm looking to see if they made it through. It looks like everybody made it through, which is pretty impressive. Oh, there's an early move, and is that contact right there? It is. I believe that was contact right there, Tom, between Stephen Case and Max Linlato, and Max is in an awful spot right now as the entire field goes by him.
It's an absolute heartbreaker. Cold tires, I think, just caught Stephen Case out just a little bit, maybe also on the back foot, starting on the dirty side of the racetrack. Got off the line poorly, and then a little bit too hot into the braking zone there at turn 4. Just the slightest touch ever. I don't actually know that it started the rotation for Linlato, but Linlato ended up on throttle offline just a little bit awkwardly. Now we're racing back for the podium positions as Traber Burns shows the nose up the inside of Chris Eggert, who has recovered now to second. We did get a couple other cars involved in that collision early on. Looks like maybe Thomas Brashear and Michelle Lynn both also retiring. So that was kind of a 3-car exit to the race, as we also have damage flags for Enrique Vela and Josh Corwin. 5 victims now.
Yeah, we've got 4 meatballs out there. One of them, Corwin is already in the pit lane, but Vela with a meatball. Brashear, Lynn, both with meatballs. Jason Cotcher has now just crashed. Cotcher will be moving down the field here. Man, I feel bad for Mike Braun trying to figure this all out. Oh boy, that is close. We'll have to see if we can get a nose shot to see if there actually is contact there, but it sure looks like he touched him. And in that corner on lap 1, like, you are doomed. Ooh.
Yeah, just the smallest touch, but that was either way, it probably just rattled Lotto enough, whether it rotated the car or not. He picked up the throttle and the car just went around on him. Again, with that phase of the tire you talked about, even in the 15-minute race, you have to deal with it. As another big incident behind, this is a couple of cars battling out for Brashear is involved. This is going to be, oh man, where are we in the
Yeah,
in the
that
field?
was Michelle Lynn and Brashear right there.
Replay
that's
yeah,
Navas Molina. Yep, Brashear goes off, clips Michelle Lynn. That's it for that. And was that Velasco that hit there? Holy cow. It's chaos out here. The timing tower is just an absolute dumpster fire right now. This is what we expected, though. This is absolutely it. Oh, and there is your class. That's Velasco in the Senna chicane. That is what that looks like. Holy smokes. The damage is on in F3. This is the big kids racing, and this is maybe the track where they kind of wish that they were doing the F4 style with no damage, because you won't see them until the feature race. Their cars are done.
Right. Time to sit around and wait for the next gridding process, or maybe just get the car repaired and get some extra sighting laps in this race. But big shuffling at the front. Check this out. Chris Eggert goes to the lead after Traber Burns moves to second. They've both picked up positions on Stephen Case. Here's how it happened into the braking zone down to turn number 9. Case had a pretty good lead coming into this corner, but goes very conservatively. Eggert, super aggressive, barely makes it to the apex, but does perfectly to embrace the race on the exit, leave space for Case to exist, and then this is incredible stuff. So tight through this section of the racetrack at turn 11, and this is going to open, I think, the door for Traber Burns to knife up the inside through 13 and 14. Yes, just shoves it up there, and that's going to give Stephen Case back to third. Case, often the winner of the sprint races, often starting on pole and often winning from pole, and then having to race his way back through that 6-car invert. This is a little bit of a different shape, and I have to wonder if there's maybe a bit of residual damage on that car, slowing it down just slightly after a bit of contact in the early stages of that first lap.
Yeah, there's been some movement in the back of the field. Looks like Jason Cotcher made it past Jose Navas Molino. Thomas Brashear is just having a rough night as well. But Stephen Case on the last race, we were in the broadcast booth saying that, things didn't just quite look right for him, but he actually didn't have any damage. So sometimes, Stephen leaves a little bit of room in these sprint races. Honest to God, like on that last turn there, he had tremendous driving just to keep control of the car and provide room for the rest of the field. But Eggert out front here has put 1.6 seconds over top of Traber Burns. Traber Burns, not a newcomer to iRacing. He's very talented, very naturally fast. But to show up tonight just out of the blue and go one up on Stephen Case is another level of things. It looks like we have all sorts of crashes again in the back. We've got Michelle Lynn, Velasco, De Silva. It's a bit of a mess in the back of the field, and once your car has lost, this looks like Michelle Lynn. Yep, there is the chicane, and Michelle clips that corner. So with this chicane, we need to talk just a little bit about it. It is just the tiniest window. Oh, and there's Velasco. That's turn 7. Turn 7 and the chicane are the two most important turns on this course. The chicane will kill you, but turn 7, if you don't hit it right, you are going to lose so much time and leave yourself a sitting duck, kind of like right there. That was De Silva, I believe. This chicane, Tom, let's talk about that for just a quick second. Oh, there's Vela going out.
We go back to the battle for 4th and 5th as Danush Paborji and Kenan Miller going at it. This is super good racing behind your top 3. A little bit of a defensive juke there coming off of turn number 9, and a rear brake lock up. Whoa, for Kenan Miller, who had the 4th position for the previous lap, just lost it, and that's going to delay his progress just a little bit more. Loses about 5 car lengths. and allows Danush Paborji to get a bit of a breather here, settling into fourth. Look at this.
So
Chris
Danush is
Eggert
going to come
gone.
up. Oh my goodness. Danush is going to come up to the chicane here and take a look at this. You have to take a left and clip these bumpers just perfectly right there. If that right side, if your car is rotating to the right, when you hit that right curb, you are done. It is going to go all over the place. So they do a perfect job of straightening out the car and going through the chicane, this tiny little threaded area, perfectly every single time. You miss it once and you look like Michelle Lynn. We've got a crash in the back there.
And it's exactly where we're talking about. We talked about measuring your attack in this race. Chris Eggert from the race lead shoves it through the chicane just a little bit too much, bottoms the car out, puts it hard into the wall, and that's that measure that we've been mentioning. It's just so
That's it.
You could be driving off 2 seconds a lap faster, and then you have the car hit that chicane just wrong, and now all of a sudden, the returner, can't call him a newcomer exactly, but the returner, Traber Burns, inherits the lead, and now has to battle that same expectation.
Traber Burns is back in the lead in an SRG race. This is crazy. But Eggert hit that thing just slightly off, and that's exactly what we saw, Tom. It's a perfect example of it. But yes, Traber Burns, look at this. You're right, you can't call him a newcomer, but man, like out of the blue, he's putting one on this field. He's got a 2.5 seconds on case. Paborji now in third, Kenan Miller in fourth. This is a race of attrition at this point. Who's left to be able to actually stay on the lead lap? If you go to the pits, I believe you get one free healthcare receipt, and you can put your car back together with duct tape and goodwill. But after that, you're on your own. And there has been more than a few crashes by the same people over and over. Poor Eggert. Unfortunately, Tom, if you end up upside down, you have to tow, and that is definitely it for you.
Yeah, that takes another 3 or 4 minutes of simulator time, probably. So it's Burns, Case, Paborji, Miller, a bit of a gap back to Adrian Lopez, who finds himself running in the top 5 again. The battle for 6th. Now, this is an interesting story. Jason Green had one of his weaker qualifying sessions that we've seen from this driver. He sits second in the championship and is kind of Mr. Consistency, unless you want to count Stephen Case as Mr. Consistency as well. But either way, he's raced his way up 5 positions from 11th on the grid to now hold that invert spot, number 6, which puts him on pole for the next race. But he's got Varun Bali right behind him, giving pressure as we come up on just past halfway in this race. Jason Green has put himself kind of in the perfect position for the feature, I must say.
Yeah, Jason Green cannot be counted out at any point. Jason Green is one of the most talented racers in the Sim Racers group. One of the fastest, has a gaudy I rating. I think it's something like 4,000 or 5,000, something like that. He's a fabulous racer. But I'll tell you this: if you're going to be racing near Varun Bali, you want Varun Bali behind you. We watched an entire race of Varun Bali managing to hold off the entire field. What seemed like for, I don't know, 20 minutes. It was one of the most impressive drives we've seen in a long time. So having Varun behind you is good work by Jason Green. But look out for Jason Green. If he catches the invert in that 6th position and starts the feature race in 1st, you might see him take off. And that's it. Oh, it looks like, do we have a crash here out of Stephen Case? Stephen Case dropping down the podium quickly here. Let's take a look at this.
Looks like a simple spin. Does he catch the wall? Oh, he does. There's going to be some damage on that race car. Clips it with the right rear and shoves the nose into the wall on the right side of the racetrack. He's still driving under his own power. I suspect there is a little bit of damage, if nothing, but the real damage is the fact that he's lost all this track position all the way back to 8th now.
Holy cow. Yeah, that's just a very sort of innocuous spot to lose the back end and clip the wall like that. But, I mean, this is what happens when drivers are pushing like this. And these F3 cars are a lot more powerful than the F4s. They can, if you hammer down on that throttle and those tires aren't quite there, the back end just will completely vanish on you and it will come out the side, and then, you know, you're in trouble there. This is turn 7, what you just saw Bali go through there, and those drivers really wing it around there. That is probably the most important turn with regards to speed, because you come into the Babham straight on the back side of it, which is really the longest straight on the whole course, and one of the few areas for passing right here, where you saw Traber Burns and who was it that was in? It was Eggert before he crashed, put it on Stephen Case right there. So not a lot of passing opportunities, but the end of that straight is definitely a dive bomb chance for people.
Looks like it's pretty easily flat out through that kink at turn 8 as well. So it's a big drafting moment as Varun Bali really throws it down deep into the final corner, gathers it up nicely for a late apex, but loses just a bit. Hopping on board for the big roulette, turns 1, 2, and 3, that Senna chicane, as you mentioned, it's really just about having the wheel straight and the car composed when you hit that second curve. The first one is the one that upsets it. The second one is the one that bites you in the back of the head if it isn't perfectly balanced. See just how much work comes into these cars, and really no downforce effectively helping the cars at this speed. And that's the first thing to go, as well as the tire when it starts to really get its what you call it, the witching hour. Once it clears that sweet spot, it the first thing that goes is the low speed performance when the downforce isn't helping the car either. And there are just so many corners like that here at Adelaide. It's going to keep the drivers on their toes big time.
Yeah, this is a flat out corner right through here, and you're going to come up on a heavy braking zone at about 150. Right there, they're going to start to hammer down on those brakes, and you have to make a hard turn right there and then get back on the throttle. This is an area where your tires can cool down a little bit after that straight, so you're in okay shape. That's where Stephen Case hit it right there. And then you're going to come around to the front straight here after one last heavy braking area right here. Get a good exit on that, come around the outside. Now, after the Senna chicane here, you end up going through this series of S's, and it's very difficult. Traber Burns has got a yellow. Right on the chicane there, if you go to the right, you'll end up with a slowdown, and we might have that be what happened there. I'm not quite sure what the yellow is for Traber, but it looks like he has cleared it.
Yeah, that yellow on the timing tower on the left, that yellow box indicates the cut penalty, so while he has that on his screen telling him to slow down for whatever amount of time the game deemed, it'll be there. And he cleared it actually with plenty of time to spare. Had a little bit over a 3-second lead over Danush Paborji, but Paborji now still sits about 2.2 seconds back with, is this going to be the white flag? I think we're coming to the white flag this time by the time we make it to the start-finish straight.
Yeah, Traber has put on a very impressive showing here. With that slowdown, the slowdown is in a very difficult spot, a punishing spot, but you're going into a series of turns, and you can really kind of kill the slowdown without too much problem there. As you see, Traber definitely did some work there. And is this the white lap here for Traber? I think that it's got to be, right? All right, so we're white lap racing here, white flag, and Traber Burns is going to be leading with a pretty sizable, almost 2-second lead over Paborji. Kenan Miller behind him, Lopez, then Green, Bali, Cotcher, Stephen Case in 8th position there. Max Linlato just gets by Jose Navas-Molino right now because Navas-Molino looks like he might have binned it. Kukaran Dillon also taking part in that flavor as well. So it looks like Traber, here we're on board with Traber coming around the long straight there. There's the flat out. And he's just got a couple more turns in him, and so long as he doesn't do anything catastrophic, I think that Traber Burns is going to go ahead and walk away as your sprint race winner, which will then, maybe I spoke too soon. Traber Burns there, Tom.
A little bit of internet popping in and out. Really impressed with the pace of Paborji here on the last lap, but Burns, as soon as he cleared that first chicane, could probably take a pretty deep breath. One more braking zone to go, and this will convert to a 6th place start in the feature race. But you can enjoy the spoils while you have them. A victory for Traber Burns.
Traber Burns, Paborji will be starting 5th in the feature with a 2nd place finish. Kenan Miller, look at that. Kenan Miller with an excellent performance. Adrian Lopez, Jason Green ends up in 5th. So Jason Green will be 2nd. And there we have him. Look out, folks. It's Varun Bali's starting pole. Could we see a repeat of Montreal? We could maybe see that. Max Linlato, Stephen Case, both frozen out of the top 6. How about that? Unfortunately, a tough run out there for a lot of racers. Jose Navas-Molina there's a crash right at the end there. Josh Corwin, Cucaron Dillon, Enrique Vela, Thomas Brashear, Michelle Lynn, Eggert De Silva Velasco. They all had a difficult day with some contact with the wall. And so that's going to be your sprint race. We've got a 25-minute feature up here. And that will be a completely different animal, because if you thought that these guys were on squirrely tires for the sprint, you just get ready for about 20 minutes in here when we start to see cars go through the chicane.
Yeah, they don't get any better over that last 10 minutes, that's for sure. And
No,
again, the low-speed acceleration zones are really where I think they start to show their weakness first. So that first sector will be very interesting. But I agree. I mean, if I'm prepping for this race, you almost have to prepare a high-risk and a low-risk lap and kind of take the risk that's appropriate for your race at any given time. For example, in the final stages of that race, the race leader leading by 2 seconds, you just slot back into your, this is my chill mode, this is my no incidents mode. And that's just so difficult to do, especially with only a 1 week turnaround.
So here's your Heat 1 results. We kind of went through this already. We've got Burns, Paborgi, Miller, Lopez, Green, and then Bali for your top 6, which will invert. And so you will start 6 in first and all the way down the line. Cotcher had an excellent race there, representing Antarctica there. Case, Lynn Lotto. Lynn Lotto specifically said he didn't want to hear anything about Spin Lotto, and so I will avoid saying that, because I think he might have actually gotten taken out by his arch nemesis, Stephen Case, in a really unfortunate lap 1 incident. Cold tires will get you, even the good ones. Navas Molina, and then Corwin, Dillon, Vela, Brashear, Lynn, Eggert, De Silva, and Velasco. Let's do some points. Here is the championship standings for the Sim Racers Group F3 Advanced League. Stephen Case up front with 607 points. Jason Green is just a hair behind him. That is a 2-horse race right now. Max Lotto is a good 100 points behind that. But it tightens up really fast there with Eggert, Kalen Pitstart Mikowitz, and Adrian Lopez right in the 400s there. Finishing up the 400s is De Silva. Then we have Velasco, Cotcher, Paborgi, Corwin, Lynn. There's a whole bunch of people. Bali, Miller, Conway, all in the 300s, all the way down to Brashear in the 200-point realm. We have Dylan Duval, Navas Molina, Posada. Hey, look, James McDonald even raced a couple times in F3 and got a few points. I don't know, some new guy, whatever, doesn't matter. Then we have Chris Wang, Cardenas, Trantham, Dustin Brown. We haven't seen Dustin Brown in a long time, which is a shame, because Dustin Brown came out with a ton of speed and really put himself on the leaderboard for the F4 group, even raced a couple F3 races. Then there's Glasser, Guyton Vela, some other racers that haven't put up too many starts here. Championship standings, we have the green cars. Then we have the Dillon Case. They have a system at SRG where you don't get to choose your partner. You get slotted together. And so sometimes it's a little tricky. I believe the green cars is Corwin and Green. Dillon Case is Cucaron Dillon and Stephen Case. The IVRT reunion tour, I couldn't begin to tell you if that is in there. Tyler Velasco. Who was that, Tom?
IVRT is Chris Eggert, Jason Cotcher.
Ah, yes. Okay. Tylex Delasco, the Me OK connection, and MLLJNM. I believe those are just the initials of Jose Navas Molina and Max Lotto. And then Team Brasada pulling up the rear on this. It's been a very competitive season. In previous seasons, we've seen some of the racers just unfortunately run away with it. Stephen Case did that one year where he just about won every single race. Things have really tightened up in the SRG Advanced League.
Yeah, I'll point out at the top of that championship, the 25 points between Stephen Case and Jason Green, based on this 11th round of 12, could become a little bit interesting, as Jason Green slated to start on the front row for this feature race, and Stephen Case starting back in, is that 8th, I think is where he landed. So that's a lot of cars to go through. And again, I do think we're racing the race more than each other, as we saw with the attrition and with the mistake proneness of this racetrack. But if everybody is racing the race as well as each other, you do still race each other, and I think that's a long way to go for Stephen Case.
I think you're absolutely right. For example, we have a clip here of David Hirsch. David Hirsch, just a fantastic racer who managed to clip the Senna chicane here in a
Perkins
absolutely
also takes
horrifying way. And this is what happens when you do it wrong.
0.5
Yeah,
for that driver.
That one speak for itself.
So it was Guyton for a split second, and then Perkins takes it away again. But I think you're right, Ron. I mean, the biggest challenge with these race cars is they're a pretty entry-level formula car.
It's like one of
those meaningful downforce, but they really do rely on the mechanical
contest, and the car only hits one side of the ramp and sees how far it can barrel roll.
Oh gosh, there was an Xbox game, and I can't remember what it was called, something Burn, I can't remember, and you just had these catastrophic crashes in cars, and you know, that is one thing, but when you're in a sim rig that is designed to have force feedback and you clip a corner like that and your car yard sails everywhere into the stands, that is a different experience, I'll tell you. Triple monitors makes that feel very real. I can't even imagine. I think Hirsch might race in VR. What that would do to you. Here's our starting grid. We've got Varun, the school bus Bali. Can't pass the school bus. It's the law. Jason Green in second here. The second row will be Lopez and Miller. Danush Paborji, Traber Burns will be in your third row. Jason Cotcher, Stephen Case are in fourth. Then we've got Max Linlato, Jose Navas, Molina. The teammates will be filling out the fifth row. Corwin Dillon in your sixth row. Then we have Cotcher, Stephen Case. Oh, pardon me. I already went through that. Vela, Brashear, and 13 and 14. 15 and 16 is Lynn and Eggert. De Silva, Velasco will be in your 17 and 18 spot. And that is the field. Tom, we are getting ready to go here. This is going to be an absolute burner. I'm excited for this. Let's see if they can make it through cleanly.
Yep, short grid as well. We're about 5 seconds from green flag. The lights are up. Here they come.
There's your lights. Lights out, drop the clutch. We are racing in Adelaide, Australia. The cars are coming down to the Senna chicane here. It looks like Green got a good start, but he does not have the inside. He does manage to pull out in front of Bali. So Green taking off. Holy cow, Green's a full second ahead. We've got Bali in second, Miller, Lopez, Paborji, Burns, Cotcher. Up there goes Kenan Miller. Kenan Miller had a rough run out of that thing, and now, oh my goodness, there's Corwin, and it is stacked up. The field is dropping fast. There was Vela in that, Dillon, Navas, Molina, Eggert. Holy cow, Tom, it's a mess in the back.
But up the inside at 7, Stephen Case trying to pick up fourth. Here's the scrum. They were nearly 3 wide. There's a little bit of a lockup for Kenan Miller. No harm, no foul, but has to rejoin. And this gets intense for everybody else. I think the 2 cars involved at the back here, it's going to be Josh Corwin and is that Eggert, who came in just way too hot. He was just like a homing missile down into turn 4. The 35 car, Enrique Vela, took a big hit from it as well. Here he comes.
Navas Molina breaks. Oh, Corwin just right into Vela, and that stacks up the whole field. Corwin turned right into Vela, and there was nowhere for anyone to go out of that turn. That's really unfortunate because a lot of those people's nights is more or less over. They're going to be in the pit if they're able to repair their car. I'm not sure in this league whether or not you get a free repair if you've already burned it in the sprint race. If you get a renewed free repair, you do get a new free. Okay, so we've got confirmation from Mike Braun in the truck that you do in fact get a free repair. So they should be out there again. Unfortunate though, they're not going to be competing. Jason Green here has got a full second on Bali. Bali's actually done very well to stay with him, I would say. Lopez is another 2 seconds behind that, and Paborji is on Lopez and looks to be making some sort of move here. Traber Burns is right on Paborji. There's a race going on right there. So there is a good stack up going on right here, and there's Traber Burns right behind Paborji. 0.1 down the straight and will make the move to the inside. Oh! Locks it up, could not stop it, and now he is racing the wrong way, and a lot of people are going to go by him. That will take Traber Burns all the way down to 10th place, 9th place. Pardon me, Brashear is still behind him, but well, wow, what an unfortunate lockup for Traber Burns.
Yeah, I saw it coming a mile away, got off the brake pedal and saved it nicely. I'm pretty sure Brashear's like, where the heck did this guy just come from, coming out of that corner so quick? But he made a really late move. Looked like he almost couldn't make up his mind, and then just way too deep on the brakes. Locks the fronts early, gets off the brakes, loops it around. And that is probably his race done as far as contention for a podium or anything, but did a really nice job to keep it off the wall. As another driver having an issue, Kenan Miller, did he get into the wall coming off of turn 3?
We've got a crash here with Paborgi. There's Paborgi. Paborgi puts it into the wall on the Senna chicane, and that is it. We're going to have to take another look at that, but he is in huge trouble right now. Although somehow his car seems to have survived. I'm not entirely sure how. Paborgi comes through here, clips the left unstable car, loses the back comes on again. I don't know. Somehow he's got the damage off because I'm pretty sure that I saw the tail fin of his car eject itself, but he's managed to save that. Unfortunately, Paborgi is all the way down into, oh gosh, where is he? He's in 10th place now. I guess you go from wherever you were to 10th place when you have a bad incident, which is unfortunate. This has been a rough race for a lot of people. There's Traber Burns. Yeah. The chicane doesn't get any easier, and the tires get worse as the race goes on. So it's gonna be very difficult. Michelle Lynn looks like she just passed Paborgi to get into 10th place as well here.
Yeah, Paborgi down to the pit lane, serving that meatball flag. So it looks like the damage was off, but this is a battle for third. Stephen Case just working over Adrian Lopez, who slots back in line, just holding off Max Linlado, third, fourth, and fifth in a row. And Jason Cotcher in the background as well, having a great run towards the top 5. Case passed it just in time to give Adrian Lopez and Max Linlado a huge draft down to turn number 9. But if he clears him at turn 9, I think he will be able to drive away just a bit. Tempting moves for Max Linlado. Here it comes.
Here it comes, folks. Max Linlado does get around Lopez. Oh, and Lopez clips the curb there. That's going to be tough for Lopez. He's going to lose some pace, and Cotcher is right behind him. Max Linlado is the least of his worries right now. Cotcher is going to use this momentum to come into the final turns here to see whether or not he can pull off a big pass here. And it looks like Lopez has found his pace again, and now we have a famous battle here. Let's see if we can get the timing tower back up on this to see where everyone has slotted in here. But that's Linlado and Case right on top of each other, and now they're, oh my goodness, there is Linlado going clean over the slowdown area. I would be shocked if he does not have a slowdown for that particular move, and he's lucky that he saved the car.
Yeah, he centered up the wheel as soon as he knew it was going to go wrong. He and Adrian Lopez both picked up cut penalties that time, and he still has not cleared it, has Max Linlado. So he's still trying to just bleed off that penalty with that obnoxious warning right in front of you, reminding you of your mistake, as you just have to keep backing off, as Linlado in the number 9, Adrian Lopez just behind, both serving their cut penalties just now at turn 8, but it gets Jason Cotcher through up into the top 5, and now Traber Burns charging back from 7th. Does he dive up the inside at turn 9? Yes, and keeps it on the racetrack this time. Down 2 for Adrian Lopez.
My goodness. Following along Traber Burns here. Traber Burns having, frankly, a very good race here. Has managed to stay with some pretty decent pace despite all the chaos going around him. But Adrian Lopez is no joke. And Adrian Lopez, holy cow, you can see how hot those brakes got there on that last corner for Lopez. That's a tough one on corner 16. Alex Velasco is going to be going through the chicane right there. We're on board with Velasco. It looks like Velasco is up 10 places. Velasco is going to be your hard charger right now by double second place. Up 10 places into 8th spot right now. So he has managed to make serious work of this course here. But, you know, it's a long way to the front here. You've got, I don't know what, intervals of 2, 4, 5, 7. Like it is a solid 15 seconds to the leaders of this course right now, who is Jason Green, followed by Varun Bali.
Green has cleared the lapped car of Kenan Miller, I think, in the orange machine. So that car is down 1 lap. and is split now the top two. Varun Bali had been hanging in there pretty nicely, but just slips back now to just outside 2 seconds over the last 2 or so laps. Then the next car coming into the shot at the bottom of the screen, the blue, number 243, Stephen Case. He's got plenty of time and has been lapping maybe 4 to 6 tenths faster than the rest of the field the last 2 or 3 times through. But again, it's just risk versus reward. Is it worth risking putting the car in the wall for the next 18 minutes of this race to try to catch the top 2? Or do you settle into that conservative mode where you know you're not going to make a wreck and you kind of hope and pray that if an opportunity comes your way, it's because somebody else did make that mistake?
You're not wrong. Stephen Case last lap was in the 13s. He ran a 13.7. Everyone else is running 14s and 15s, including Varun Bali, who ran a 15.3. Your leader ran a 15 flat. So Stephen Case, a second and a half almost faster than the field right now. Max Lindlato ran the 13.7. Stephen Case ran the 14. So those two guys are going to catch these front runners here before long. And we are only 8 minutes into a 25-minute race here, Tom. This is going to be a really wild ride here. But I would be shocked if Stephen Case didn't pull Bali in within, I would say, 2 laps here. And Lindlato is not going to let go of Stephen Case by any means. He will find a way to grab onto the bumper of Case and make this a fight before this race is over. You mark my words.
And I agree with you, and I don't know that we can count Traber Burns out either. Look at that, running up into 5th position now, having dropped to 10th with that small mistake. He made very quick work of these 3 cars, Cotcher, Lopez, and Velasco, and now sits 4.5 seconds behind Lindlato and Case. That math doesn't work great for him catching Case and Lindlato, but he is significantly faster than the top 2, and he's that blue car that just pops out of frame in front of these 3 coming onto the back straight now. Stephen Case, he didn't even take 2 laps. Look at this. He's already down to 3 tenths behind Varun Bali coming into the braking zone for turn 9.
Yeah, Stephen Case just ran a 13.7 and Lindlato ran a 13.5. So they're a second and a half faster than the rest of the field right now. And so this is going to be it. We are about to watch Varun Bali do Varun Bali things here and try to keep Stephen Case behind him. But I don't think it's going to happen on this course. I think the Case has enough of a stretch and a few places where he can actually pull off some passes here. There's a lot of good fights. If you look at the timing tower here, you've got the Case, Lindlato, Bali situation. You also have Cotcher, Lopez, Velasco, all within a second of each other. The rest of the field is kind of spread out a little bit, but man, you just cannot count out that chicane right there coming into a potential passing zone here. Case is looking to the outside. It does not look like that's going to happen right now, but Bali is going to go through these S's. Very difficult to make a pass in these S's, but if Bali goes to the outside here, you might see Stephen Case stick his nose in. This would be a tough area. I don't think you'll see that, but if Case gets the exit that he wants, you've got an awfully long straight here, and he's within 0.1. He is going to make the move right now. He's going to the inside, and this is going to be a real tight spot right here. Bali gives him room, as he should. Oh, wow. Bali still has some speed, so it looks like Case is coming to the inside. Case will make the move. Bali gives him room and manages to get through. Case with the great move, and Bali with excellent driving to keep it close like that.
That was just about everything he could have done, especially at that section of the racetrack. They bought a bit of time to Max Lindlato behind to have that exchange, as Ken and Miller was trying to let drivers through, just sort of ran out of time and ended up holding up Lindlato just slightly. But he's still in the conversation. We're watching cars 2nd, 3rd, and 4th coming up on maybe 1 lap away from halfway. So we're into the tire witching hour. We're past the prime, and it looks like the drivers that needed it made the most of that prime. Running really fast laps, talking Case, Lindlato, and Burns, really, those 3. The key is remembering to kind of back things down and not stay that aggressive as the tires now enter that second phase of the race where they're starting to burn off. The car's just not as precise, not as forgiving, and it just gets worse and worse. Oh, a big clunk in the wall for Varun Bali. Oh, that's going to end his race, I think. He's already slowing.
Yeah, Varun Bali, like I said, on that turn 7, he comes around and he just lets that back end go. He gets on the gas a little bit early. You could see he took the inside curb. What happened was he took the inside curb a little bit too rough, and it unsettled the car. He wasn't able to get the rotation and just went right into the wall. And Bolly's going to be in super rough shape. It looks like his car is pretty banged up. It doesn't look like it's racing all that well, and that might be the end for Bolly. I'm not sure if he has a meatball. He does have the meatball, so Bolly will be going into the pits, and that's unfortunate. Vela also in the pits. It looks like he has got a meatball as well. It's tough sledding out there, folks. It's really tough. But you start to see, Tom, these cars in the rotation in the corner, even with Case there. Oh my goodness, they're just getting a little bit loose in the back end there and starting to drift them a little bit, and that gets really dangerous. Case, though, and Green, you're not going to find two more precise racers right here. And so Case is 0.3 behind him. I don't know if he's going to have enough of a push. 2.5. 2, he's going to go through the flat turn there, and it looks like Case is going to try to get a good line. Green covers the inside, and Case is going to attempt to make the pass on the outside. Green managing to hold him off, but Case has got the inside now in the next turn. Case goes inside for a double, and Green with momentum keeps him off. Now Green is going to have the inside into the final turn here. Green with a pretty decent exit on this thing and manages to hold off Stephen Case. Look at that racing. How about that?
Wow, Green placing the car perfectly for both turns 9 and 14 there to finish that lap out, but he's got a lot of race left to hold on to this top spot, so lap traffic going to become a factor this lap as well. Max Lotto keeping himself within touch. The more these two fight it out and the longer it takes for Stephen Case to make the move on Jason Green, the more Lotto brings himself back towards the front. As the number 24, Dylan, doing a really nice job to disappear in a very difficult section of the racetrack to do that.
Yeah, I'm going to give my hats off to Kukaran Dylan on that one, because he just had 3 absolute monsters bearing down on him, and he thought, you know, I don't want to be the problem. So he managed to find a nice wall to hide into and did not affect the race of the top 3 here. Max Lotto is going to be in this conversation. Stephen Case is going to try the inverse of the move that he was doing with Green last time, and you look how difficult it is in that corner. They're both being very sensitive, and it's allowing Lotto to get right back into this race here. They are tip to tail here. This is going to be a last turn here and into the chicane. It could be rough. You cannot go too wide into the chicane. There's a lockup from Green, and Stephen Case moves the inside, and Lotto is right behind Case. You can see a double pass here. Green could end up in third here. I don't know. Nope. Lotto backs out and lets the chicane handle itself, and he'll get him next time.
Yeah, smart move there to get single file. That was really good stuff. I saw Green was feeling a little bit more confident, not as protecting in those corners as he was the previous lap, but the small mistake, now a second one, compounds the issue and allows Max Lotto to get through. Maybe just early tire wear issues for Jason Green. Does he lock the rear tire once more? Heavy braking, just missed a braking zone. I think maybe coming in a little bit hotter than he expected with the draft. Did a really nice job to save it, as the consequences there can be much, much worse. But from first to third, and now, like we said, Trader Burns not that far back from the rest of this pack. And now Jason Green, a bit slower tonight, has not found his pace that he typically would have, is on the back foot with Trader Burns, your sprint race winner, charging fast.
Traber Burns is charging fast. I don't know if we're going to be able to see him catch. Traber's running about, he's maybe running a 14.5, but he hasn't had anyone in front of him to worry about, whereas these other guys are running like a 15, somewhere in there, but they've been fighting each other. So I don't know if Traber's going to have the speed to be able to catch Jason Green. We will find out as the race goes on, but I'll tell you, Stephen Case and Max Lotto are going to put on a show for us. We're at the 16-minute mark. We've got about 9 minutes left in this race, and these cars, whoever's left is going to be really hoping that they survive this thing, because they're going to be in great shape. There's been a few people that have had quietly good races here. Alex Velasco. How many places up is Alex Velasco right now? He is 13 places up from starting towards the rear of this after a disappointing sprint. Jason Cotcher in 6th place doing great. Adrian Lopez, Varun Bali unfortunately was much higher than that and has dropped down. Danush Paborji, I believe, had an incident. Michelle Lynn is sort of going about her business here after some difficult times. There's Michelle Lynn right there. Always a fan favorite to see the purple race car around the course. Michelle is a new addition to the SRG field and has impressed an awful lot of people with their real world experience and her sim driving as well. She is very, very respectful and quite quick on the course, so you can never count her out. It's been a good field this year, I would say, Tom. There's been a lot of good racing out there. There's Adrian Lopez.
And every time we talk to these drivers, you can feel the community as well. A handful of these drivers racing on site together at the Sim Racers Group on location in San Jose, California. Everyone else racing from home. And the drivers who have the sim rig at home obviously have the opportunity to practice a whole heck of a lot more, or at least a lower barrier to do so, than the drivers who have to go to the location and use the sim rigs on site. Just watching this battle now between Jason Cotcher, who has 6th position. Adrian Lopez in the 007 wants it. And there's such a sneaky rhythm. There's a very hidden rhythm to these corners, turns 4 to turn 7. Very blind on entry. It becomes very difficult to trust the mid-corner speed and get the entry just right without compromising the exit. Here we go for 3rd. Traber Burns has run down Jason Green. Green says, no, I'm done with this. You could go ahead and go through. I was battling hard for 1st, but for 4th, that's not that big of a deal to me. Go through. And Burns will now try to, I don't know, really the best he can do maybe is hope that these two either have the duel of a century, go very slowly doing so, or maybe make a mistake.
I think the duel of the century is implied, but I don't think they're going to go slow at all doing it. So I think the problem is that Green just really lost a ton of pace there. He unfortunately fell back quite a ways. Jason Green just ran a 16 and a half. So it is possible that Jason Green either has cooked tires or might actually have some damage on the car, because I didn't think that Traber Burns was going to hawk him down like that. And he made, as they say in the fire service, that's light work. That was an easy day at the office for Traber. Traber's got a long ways to go here, unfortunately, to catch these two front runners. But these two guys, you look at Linlotto. Linlotto's trying to psych out Stephen Case. You think that's going to work, Tom? That little move there on Stephen Case when you're 0.4 behind?
Yeah, I think Stephen goes, yeah, that's cute. Okay, follow me again now into the corner here. As we come up on the last 5 minutes, this is a great duel for the race win between, by the way, the two drivers who started on the front row in the sprint. They took a very roundabout way to get back to the top 2 at this point in the evening, but the brakes are on fire. The sun is low in the sky. The tires are as good as they're going to be for the rest of the race, but that's not to say they're very good. Also, notice this line that Stephen Case takes. He's really avoiding that inside curb at the first apex. I think he's found that mitigates the risk at turns 1 and 2. It is a little bit slower. You saw Linlotto take a bigger risk and does close down, but it's just not quite enough to worry about for Case. It's trusting the downforce of the car, trying to drive maybe a little bit more distance, but much less risk. And then he pulls away in this section of the racetrack. He's really found the rhythm through here like nobody else.
Yeah, Stephen Case and Max Linlotto out of turn 7 there do it better than anyone else has today. You can really see the cars that are a little bit slower are much more controlled through that section, and the cars that are getting really good lap times are just winging it through that corner and managing to push their car out all the way to the outside of the track. And it looks like Stephen Case and Linlotto are really, really going to fight this one out here. Linlotto tries to make it through the inside and locks up the tires. That is going to slow him down a little bit. We thought it was maybe a dive bomb there, but Stephen Case managed to avoid the contact and pulls out here, and Linlotto is going to have to think twice about that. He is 0.2 behind, but man, every lap you see that last turn with those red hot brakes right there, and they are just right on top of each other. They are 0.2 away from each other going into the chicane here, and I think you're absolutely right. I think Linlotto actually had to break up a little bit there because he didn't want to try to fly through the chicane and make a pass. This section here, watch as they go through turn 7, Tom. You'll see them just push it as far as they possibly can to the outside, and it's very impressive how fast they get off.
You can even use the corner on the exit as a bit of a cushion for the dirt track racers out there. You slide it right up to it. As long as you don't hit it too hard, it catches the car nicely. And Stephen Case really has the exit of that corner figured out. It's not for much. gain, but it does delay Linlato's draft ever so slightly. Awkward timing as Linlato has to go wide to try to create overlap through that flat-out run at turn 8. Now looks to the outside. His second time in a row, looking here a little bit of a break lockup, but Case has him covered on the exit, mitigating any run that he might have. He looked at the last time here. That was really good work of Stephen Case, by the way, on the previous lap to see that coming. This time, no opportunity created. So we're coming back to the start-finish line for what will this be? Maybe 3 more laps, but probably 2 based on the amount of time left in this race.
I'm thinking that they get this lap in and then they are white flagged on the next one. It looks like Linlato and Case, just Linlato's trying all sorts of stuff. That looked like he wanted to do an over-under there. It wasn't going to work. He's just right behind him, and this is a difficult track to pass because if you gamble on any one of these corners, it can end your race. That's the difficulty of Adelaide, is that you're running a street circuit with hard walls. And in these F3s, contact is usually death. Oh, Linlato hits the inside of the curb, and there it is, right there. When you hit the inside of that curb on 7, you are going to unsettle the car, and if you're pushing towards the outside, you are uncontrolled. And it looks like Linlato has lost a good second just because of that. That's what makes Stephen Case win races, is that kind of precision, avoiding the big mistakes, and just cleanly going through the corners time after time. Linlato he's Mozart. Oh, Stephen Case is in the wall. Stephen Case is in the wall. The broadcaster's jinx. I absolutely just crushed Stephen Case. Linlato goes around. Stephen Case is missing a wheel. That is it, folks. Stephen Case is going to be done. He is going to go to the pits, and look at that. There's that same innocuous corner I was talking about earlier. And that is it for Stephen Case.
Wow, got on the curb on the entry and just could not get the car under control for the entry of turn number 11. Max Linlato probably just cannot believe what he watched as he inherits the easiest lead that he possibly could have after making a smaller than the smallest mistake of the two. Let's put it that way. That's going to return Jason Green up to second position. Traber Burns up to third. Did Burns had an issue as well at some point? Remember, he was running in front of Jason Green at some point, and now is within the clutches of Alex Velasco and Adrian Lopez here coming into turn 6 and 7.
This is going to have massive implications on the season because Jason Green is going to get second in this race, and Stephen Case is going to continue to fall. He's going to go to the pits. He's going to come out with a refresh, but he might fall down, likely out of the top 10 here. That's going to have a huge impact. We are, looks like we are checker flag here for Max Linlato. Max Linlato is going to win this thing with a 14-second interval. An unfortunate incident with Stephen Case, not his fault. Linlato is the recipient of the good luck there. And it looks like Jason Green, familiar Jason Green, is going to manage to pull off second in a race of attrition. Traber Burns, don't call it a comeback. Traber Burns on the podium again. Jason Cotcher with a quiet third here, it looks like, if he can hold on to it. It's going to be close here. We've got Cotcher, Velasco, Lopez, Paborgi. Ooh. And that, I believe they're all finished there, right? That's Velasco already over the line. Varun Bali has a meatball at the end. And I don't know what you do with a meatball at the end of the race there. I don't think that's going to allow you to finish. Michelle Lynn is going to be coming in here for her checkered flag, and then Stephen Case will be following that. There is, who is that? That's Michelle Lynn right there. I almost said that was Jose Navas Molina. I'm so used to the purple, but Michelle Lynn will be coming across the line here.
Up 6 spots for 9th, and then Stephen Case looks like the best that he settles into with that quick repair. Just back in front of Jose Navas Molina. He still brings it home 10th. That will be his, of the races, I think that's maybe his 3rd time off the top 5 in this championship.
Unfortunately,
but again,
they only get 2 drops, though.
Right, exactly.
Yeah, so with the 2 drops, this one, I believe Steven has a couple other ones that he wished that he could get rid of. But going back to the leaders here, there is Max Linlato, who rightfully deserves to be on the top step of the podium after a great race. Jason Green managing to salvage a 2nd place. That is not bad work. And there we have LL Cool J himself, Draper Burns, in the third place position there with just great pace out of everyone here. But Lynn Lotto and Case were truly the class of the field tonight and put on a fantastic show. We're going to watch Lynn Lotto do a couple of donuts here while we go ahead and try to find some people to come into the interview room. What a tremendous race at Adelaide. It was everything that we thought it would be, Tom. Here is your leaderboard. Lynn Lotto first, Green second, Burns third. Then we have Cotcher fourth, Velasco, Lopez, Beporgi in seventh. Michelle Lynn with a top 10 in eighth position. Stephen Case, a disappointing ninth. Jose Navas squeaks in at 10th. Varun Bali probably wished he had that one back. He's in 11th. Corwin, who was unfortunately between Corwin and Vela. I'm not entirely sure who was at fault for that one, but that was a tough first corner there. Kenan Miller comes in 13th. Kukaran Dillon 14. Brashear. There's Vela at 16. Chris Eggert 17. De Silva in 18th, and that's your field, Tom.
Yeah, we know that your raw pace doesn't always determine the finishing results, but this might be the furthest and most randomized version of the different strategies, paces, and skill levels maybe across these drivers from their fast lap to where the actual finishing results stack up. So many different approaches. Just at the top two, Max Lynn Lotto had one of the most aggressive nights of anybody, and he ends up with the win, but we saw how close it comes to disaster when you fight that so hard. Jason Green on the other side, one of the most conservative nights, comes home just short of a win in second. It's just a very interesting dynamic. And I don't think we're done with this type of thing because we have the second half of this championship. So many street races. We've done St. Pete, we've done Miami, we've done Montreal, practically a street race. We've done Adelaide. We're rounding it out at Long Beach. So these drivers are going to be used to dodging walls at this point.
Yeah, Long Beach is no joke. I don't know if it's Adelaide level of terrifying, but it is definitely difficult. A couple notes here. Stevie Ray, the founder of the Weekend Warriors series, is going to be in-house at SRG next Tuesday for the F4s. He's going to be visiting. So if you want to say hi to Stevie Ray, a legend in the sim racing world, be over at SRG. That's in San Jose, California. They've got a whole bunch of rigs over there, and a lot of the people in these races right here are actually doing it in-house. Got a tremendous environment over there, and a very welcoming crew with Jason Cotcher and Tyler as well. It's been a good time. I believe we have some interviews. Is that what I'm hearing here? We're going to listen to, we're going to have a conversation with Michelle Lynn. So let's go ahead and bring Michelle. Tom, you want to go ahead first with Michelle?
Yeah, Michelle, how's it going? You got us here on the mic?
Hey, Tom. How are you?
Welcome back to the booth. Been a minute since we've had a chance to talk to you. It's been a minute for me since we've seen you with the Liberty Bell League being on a bit of a hiatus. But either way, we got to see you a handful of times throughout the night. You were tending to be by yourself, which is maybe the ideal place to be at Adelaide. But tell us about the night from your perspective at this daunting racetrack.
So the Liberty Bell thing, I'm still coaching, but I decided not to run the series anymore. No offense, I have a massive distaste for tin tops. I hate driving tin tops. I cannot. I don't think I'm underestimating or under whatever. My brain is mush from that race. I hate tin tops, so I'm not doing that anymore. I'm still running the V's and open wheel. I'm happy, but tonight, I was really slow around this track. I just bought the track a couple days ago. The walls are terrifying. And I feel like I'm missing a piece of physiology to be fast at this track, or I guess technically two pieces of physiology to be fast at this track, because I don't have them, and I'm terrified of hitting a wall. So Jason Green always helps me every week. Thank you. Shout out to him early. But the goal tonight was, look, I know I'm slow, so don't hit anything. Don't hit a wall, just have clean laps, even if they're slow laps, and you'll pick up a ton of candy. And I went from 15th to 8th just by going slow and picking up candy. So, I mean, it's kind of sounds like a cop out, I guess, and maybe a little lame, but that's all I had for tonight,
Yeah, Yeah, it makes a lot of sense. I mean, we talked during the show multiple times about how you really have to manage your aggression and reserve at a racetrack like this. And to your point, I mean, we see you in the Weekend Warriors Formula V, kind of a Formula V specialist, and certainly
Yeah.
a non-winged Formula car specialist, if anything. But you talked about, or last time we talked to you really about adapting to the wings, but in Formula V's street racing is not really a thing. So you had to adapt to
Oh no, but
this
we
type of
ran
racetrack.
Chicago this past season, and that's
Oh.
terrifying. And I'm slow at Chicago too because, again, physiology problem. I should
Love
shut
it.
up before like the captain kicks me out of this league. I swear.
It's all good. So we've seen you basically the whole championship. Is this something that you've grown fond of, the Formula 4s, Formula 3s every time you give them a shot? Or are you ready to take the wings back off and we'll see you on the weekends again?
No, I'm gonna still do both. I think the Formula V's that takes a lot of work for me as an admin, but I think we're taking the summer kind of off. Stevie, who runs that series, and also shout out to Stevie for that like back to front challenge in F4 yesterday. That was a great race.
Yeah.
But I think we're taking the summer season off to do like multi-car racing where we race all the different cars in race sports. So I'm going to get a little break from that, but I love the F3. I don't really have any experience in an F4, so I'm not really interested in that, but I love it. I just want to get better. I just kind of like this was my first season and my goal was top 10s, meaning like 10th place. Because like I didn't expect to hop into a brand new car with wings and you know be instantly fast. In my real world experience, I mentioned this last time, I ran Formula 2000 for just a handful of races, and even those wings had barely any downforce. This car, on the other hand, has tons of it, and you have to trust it, and I don't really quite trust it yet.
It was a heck of a first season to pick because 6 of the 12 races were street circuits by chance following this official schedule for the Sim Racers group. But while we have you here, before we let you go, any shout outs or thank yous you'd like to give here from the broadcast?
Jason Cotcher, of course, for this wonderful group of racers and everything he does in this series. Jason Green for being my like support system for F3. He's awesome, and also congrats on your second place tonight. He had the same approach as me, he's just faster. And I think that's about it. Of course, to you guys, slow motion broadcasting is amazing. None of us would be having this fun without you, so thank you so much.
Very cool. Well, congrats on the top 10 goals achieved and a lot of candy picked up. I like that analogy.
All right,
Michelle, have a good one.
Night.
All right, that was Michelle Lynn. Just a solid racer and a great lady all the way around. It looks like we're gonna bring in Jason Cotcher here. Mr. Cotcher, Captain, can you hear us?
Yep, gotcha. How's it going, my man?
Excellent, excellent. You managed to survive and have a sneaky 6th place at Adelaide when the entire world was falling apart around you. How was it out there?
Yeah, 7th in the sprint, and on the last lap, last corner, looks like Adrian and Alex got together, and I actually snuck by him for 4th. So my second best F3 finish in SRG history. Pretty stoked about that. Pretty tired. Super intensive circuit. So I mean, you can't, with damage on, you cannot miss one apex one time or you're out. And so in pressure situations, I had Lynn Lotto and Case go by me. I had Alex go by me. I was fighting with Adrian for a while, just trying to be fast and keep this much safety is it's a challenge, man. Proper challenge, as you know.
Oh, they're just showing the last replay here where Velasco and Lopez get into it, and you manage to sneak by. It looks like Lopez just unfortunately missed the break and went right into the back of Velasco. But there you go, cruising by. Survival is a real thing for Adelaide. Did you have any particular strategy with how you were going to tackle tight corners like the center chicane with traffic around you?
Well, I was fortunate to have had F4 run last week, and I watched you guys do it, and then I jumped into the sim myself, and I ran probably 4 or 5 officials just to get a sense of traffic and how it would play and where you can pass and how to survive. So It was nice not to just be turning laps on your own. I mean, you can always build AI to race against, but real humans, I think, are more less predictable rather than the AI, as chaotic as they are. So yeah, put a little time into this one. Knew it was going to be tough, and as we've said in the Discord, if you can survive, you're going to pick up spots as you go. So maybe say a little a little too safe, as I usually am, is slow, paid dividends this time.
Well, when it comes to an attrition track like this, the people that are safe end up in sixth place. So that's not so bad. You managed to get pretty high up at the field. I want to talk to you about the in-house event that's going to be coming up here, the E-Step Memorial Military Honor event. Can you tell us some of the details about this event coming up on May 30th?
Yeah, doors are going to open at SRG at 8:30 a.m. I think practice starts at 9. There's an hour or so of practice. There's some qualifying, and then the race after that. Always fun to have special in-house events like this. Hang out with your friends. We're gonna grill a steak. Maybe afterwards, I got the barbecue kit set up here, and it's just a great cause. I mean, when I met Ken E-Step, liked him straight away, and he actually chatted me up over email, and then came in. And when he told me about the Campbell Veterans Memorial Foundation and his son Adam, he started talking about doing an event, and I just said yes, let's do it. And it was pretty funny because I think he took a step back at the moment and said, I didn't even finish my pitch yet. I said, pitch, solution done. No question. When do you want to do it? How do we start? So love that guy. Wish him well in his move upcoming to Oregon. But first, on Saturday, we're going to run GT3 Mustangs around Road America for 90 minutes. And second time we've done the event, third time, memory slips there. But yeah, it was a great time when we did it before. And we're hanging out on a Saturday playing race car video games with our friends. What's not to love about that?
Well, there's not a lot not to love about that. I will tell you, looking forward to that. I know that Enrique Vela has come out with some pretty fantastic liveries for that event. Just another great evening for SRG. I know you pride yourself on everyone having clean racing. I think this track made it very difficult for that to come across, but it was some excellent racing in some of those corners. We saw some fantastic driving out of Case and Lotto and Bali and all sorts of people. Eggert was in there as well, and yourself. So before I let you go, do you have any shout outs or thank yous for anyone tonight?
Yeah, always the community. I mean, it's the guys that pay to play, to participate, that make it fun and special. My admins, Tyler, Alex, and Case. SMB, you guys always make it special. And tonight, a special shout out to my girlfriend Terry. And I would be remiss and punished, I think, if I didn't mention the puppy dog Luna. So that's the family and the friends, and that's the shout outs. Thanks for making it special, guys.
Thank you very much, Captain. Great showing tonight.
Cheers. Catch you next week.
All right. Well, we have some upcoming broadcasts here for the Slow Motion Broadcasting Network. We already talked about the Sergeant Adam W. E-Step Memorial Scholarship Race. That's going to be at SRG and also available to people that want to race it from home. Saturday, May 30th. Then after that, we got the Weekend Warriors on the May 30th with the Formula Vs at Lebanon. We're going back to SRG F4 for the final race at Phillip Island, one of my personal favorite tracks. And then we will have the final race on Wednesday, June 3rd for the F3s at Long Beach. And finally, after that, wrapping up the ends of the season here is the Formula Vs for the Weekend Warriors on June 6th at Brands Hatch. Tom, you got any final thoughts for this spectacular evening in Australia that we just witnessed?
Yeah, I think the drivers are going to be happy to get back to a familiar street circuit after learning so many new ones this season. But it's just in general, I think they've still been putting on some great performances. Really curious to see also how this championship shakes out once we factor in all of the final drops. Who will come out on top? Stephen Case has been so dominant with 10 wins this championship, but Jason Green had a really good night, only 25 points back before the finish here. I don't even know how to do the math, but we're going to know it by the time we start next week. That's going to be fun to watch too.
Absolutely. I think that Jason Green has really shaken up this championship standing here with Stephen Case. It is It is not done yet. There is one race left at Long Beach, and that is going to be a banger. Last piece of housekeeping here, Slow Motion Broadcasting. You can check out everything from Slow Motion Broadcasting on YouTube. They have videos, shorts, replays, all the races, and you can join the Discord for Slow Motion Broadcasting and see all of the races broadcast from far more talented people than myself. It's been an excellent, excellent little string of 2 races. I will not be calling the last one. We'll have a different broadcaster for that one, but I want to thank Mike in the truck there. Mike Braun is our producer in the truck, and Tom O'Gorman. Excellent, excellent time taking care of me. Thank you very much for watching Slow Motion Broadcasting's production of the Sim Racers Group F3 Advanced League. So on behalf of Tom and Mike, I am James McDonald, and I wish you happy hairpins and clear straights.